Guys, oh, okay, I'm going out and came back. Okay, what's happening here? Can you hear me?
Sí.
Ah, thank you. That was weird. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen so you can see what we are going to see today, okay?
Buenas noches, Elías.
Buenas, Lick.
Conde ilegal.
Así es,
Presente.
delegado. Capaz si puso una grabación diciendo presente y nada más la pone ahí.
Yo digo que es Ulises.
Y sí, ¿eh?
Okay, guys, so we're going to start,
Ni el
okay?
esclavo.
We're going to see
No se
the
escucha.
years of... Can you hear me, Ron? Or not?
Sí, la escucho.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to talk about the years of chaos, the years after the independence of Mexico, okay? What happened next? Okay, Mexico was independent. And then? What then, okay? So, well, I can tell you that not everything was excellent, but it tried to. Well, Mexico hopes that independence will bring a modernized economy and more egalitarian society were not realized in the next century, okay? So unfortunately for all the Mexicans, well, the things hadn't changed at all, okay? Instead, the legacy of the battle for independence was in the increased importance of an unscrupulous military and bankrupt treasury, okay? In its first 40 years, Mexico had more than 50 governments. Oh my god, that was impressive. If you think, or if you talked that on the period of independence, there were a lot of changes, well, in this stage, oh my god, we had a lot of presidents. One year, there were as many as 5 changes in the presidency. Can you imagine that? That was impressive. Well, wait for me, I'm trying to change this. Okay, and of course, that was something really bad because taking advantage of the unsettled political situation, foreign governments intervened, okay? So yes, Mexico was in a really bad point. Well, and who was next? You know, Iturbide, okay? Well, a significant misfortune for the new nation of Mexico was to have the disreputable Iturbide as its first leader, okay? Why? Because Iturbide was to govern a fledgling but enormous nation covering 1.73 million square miles from California through Central America to Panama. Can you imagine that? The territory of Mexico was gigantic, okay? And the bad thing of that is that the citizens didn't know and didn't recognize all the territories that Mexico had by that time, okay? So it was something that meant a lot of trouble, a lot of trouble. That's why later, years later, we lost a major part of our territories, but okay. So continuing, its borders with United States to north and Belize to the south were not clearly demarcated. However, so that's what I was talking about, okay? Not all its territories had participated in the War of Independence. That's something important, okay? That we had to make it clear. But that doesn't mean that all the people were, of course, in favor of the independence. Well, the United States was territory hungry, and both Great Britain and France were seeking special trade concessions. What happened here? Well, Great Britain recognized Mexico as one nation rich in a lot of natural and, of course, a lot of richness, not only natural, but you know, the good, and all the goods, mineral goods, sorry, as silver, gold, and of course, all the things that they could do in here was impressive. So they wanted to have a little bit of power in here, as a lot of nations, of course. And his first corsair for leading such a vast nation, plagued by so many foreign policy issues, well, the pompous ruler devoted himself to making elaborate plans for his coronation a few months later on July 21, 1822. So can you imagine? That's what gives to Mexico its first empire, okay? That's also an important question, okay? An important fact you have to remember. We have two empires in Mexico, and the first one was by Iturbide in 1822, okay? So remember that. Then, well, Iturbide and his Creole supporters had talked that replacing the peninsulares in government would automatically rectify the ills of the Mexican economy. But that's not true, guys. For example, in here says, haciendas have been burned and sacked. Remember that we had talked about haciendas, and you know that haciendas were one of the important or one of the most important entities on New Spain, okay? Because haciendas give a lot of economic resources for the colonial era, okay? And by this time, haciendas, well, haciendas have lost a lot of importance. So that was awful also, okay? And okay, of course, the colonial economy was destroyed. Okay, so we can imagine that by the time of the independence, Mexico could became a nation rich and of course free and all that stuff, right? But no, it wasn't. Imagine you are living with your parents right now, right? But imagine that you want to become independent. And what happened then? you realize that you don't know how to support yourselves, right? You need food, you need money, you need house, you need everything to live by yourselves. How can you do that? It's really difficult. And if we even imagine that Mexico had passed through 300 years of colonialism, well, that was something, right? So it was really difficult for Mexico to become independent and to become a really big nation with everything and the economy and politics and policy, well, policy and something like that. And no, Mexico was devastated. Horrible, horrible. The colonial economy was destroyed, of course, and nothing was invested in restarting the economy. That's the worst thing, I think, because you can imagine Mexico could try to restart the economy, and no, they didn't know what to do. That was something, okay? And when short of funds, the government attempted to borrow them, incurring more debt. So imagine Mexico didn't have any money anymore. They had spent everything. And the way for them to restart the economy was asking for money to all the nations like Great Britain and France and Spain, because they didn't have the resources. And that was something that, of course, had a lot of consequences later, okay? Well, it didn't take long for Iturbide to lose support. That was obvious, because, well, some Creoles, embarrassed by Iturbide's success, wanted an European prince installed as monarch. That's why Iturbide was the emperor. But many, a confirmed monarchist, joined the Republican side. So a lot of people start to be more interested to take out Iturbide as monarch, as emperor, okay? Also, do you remember Josefa Ortiz de Dominguez? Well, she was one of the last insurgents in die. So also she lived that moment when Iturbide was the emperor, and she of course was in total disagree. She didn't want Iturbide. She was embarrassed that some of their folks in the independence was agree. Oh, sorry, we're agree with this point of the history. So yes, that has a lot of consequences. And finally, when a military coup forced the emperor to abdicate his majestic office, only 8 months after coronation, Mexico debt was as remarkable as the disarray of its government. And how they achieved that? Well, with the plan of Casamata, okay? Remember in Mexican history, it's really important you to know all the plans and all the treaties. And in this point of history, the important one was the plan of Casamata, okay? So, one of you, tell me, raise your hand if you want to participate. What was the plan that agreed Iturbide and Guerrero? What was the name of that plan? The name of the plan that agreed Iturbide and Guerrero. You have to remember that. We have just seen 2 plans, okay? There are a lot of plans in history of Mexico, but The first plan we see was the plan of, guys, remember, please participate. Who want to try? Yes, Axel.
El plan de Iguala.
Excellent. Congratulations. You remember that. Okay. Yes, of course. We had the plan of Iguala, okay? And then we have plan of Casamata. Remember, plan of Iguala was, I know, sorry. But I give the permission to turn on your microphones. Okay, so wait, I'm reading the chat. Exactly. So, what happened? Okay. Yes, I know that you know everything. Okay, so remember that two plans, okay? They are really important for Mexican history, as all the plans we had. Plan of Iguala, the one that agree, Iturbide and Vicente Guerrero. And Plan Casamata was the one that leads the Emperor Iturbide to abdicate the throne, okay? So goodbye, Iturbide, thank you very much. You are not useful for Mexico, okay? So that's the important point. I'm going to pass to the next point, okay? Well, this is the last one, and you have to remember it. Mexico, well, after Iturbide, Mexico faced several times international aggressions, okay? I already told you that the consummation of the independence was on 1810, okay? But I told you, right, that it was until 1836 when Spain recognized Mexico as independent, okay? Let's see why. Okay, so one was on the island of San Juan de Ulúa, that's on Veracruz, okay? Where Spanish military supporters of a reconquest took refuge until 1825, okay? When Mexican troops managed to expel them. So thank you very much. They did it. And later in 1829, the monarch Fernando VII tried to restore Spanish imperial power in Mexico. How he tried? Well, through an expedition led by this captain Isidro Barradas on the shores of Tamaulipas, which failed, okay? So, sorry, Fernando, you can do it again. We are free now. And well, it was until 1833 that after the death of Fernando VII, the Spanish kingdom finally recognized the sovereignty of Mexico in 1836, okay? So I want you to explain it to me and answer some questions, okay? What did you understand that happened after the independence? Now you can talk. Who want to talk?
Yo.
Okay,
Ya.
Isra, tell me.
Pues ya o sea, las personas ya estaban felices de que lo habían logrado y pues querían mejorar y así, económicamente hablando y así, ya que eran libres.
But what happened? Why they didn't do that? Sorry.
Why they didn't or why they did?
Why they didn't?
Pues no les alcanzó.
Kind of, yes. But remember the example I give you. the example of you becoming independent?
Porque no podemos pagarnos nosotros las cosas y así.
Yes, of course. The thing is that, okay, Mexico was really rich, okay, but the people that control Mexico didn't know how to manage that, okay? So that's why the economy was really low by that time, because we have the money, yes, of course, but we didn't know how to manage that, okay? So that was the start of all the problems, all the economical problems in Mexico, okay? Problems, sorry. My ideas are like playing with my mind. Okay, so what happened with Iturbide? Who wants to participate with that? What happened with Iturbide? He became what?
He became emperor.
Exactly. He became emperor, and what happened with his empire?
He wasn't very organized.
Exactly, of course, and he wasn't very popular at the end because the disorganization he had. Excellent. So what does the people decided? To take him out, okay? At the end, they decided he didn't was useful as emperor, so they decided to transform Mexico as a republic, okay? So they took him off with the plan of, who want to answer that?
Iguala.
No, Iguala was the one of Vicente Guerrero and Iturbide. The plan I told you right now was the plan of the one of the image. Plan of?
Cádiz, no.
No.
Casamata.
Casamata, exactly. Cadiz was a constitution, okay? Constitution of Cadiz. Exactly, was with the plan of Casamata, okay? So they took away Iturbide with the plan of Casamata, and that's how the empire ends, okay? And what happened with the attempt of Fernando VII to reconquer Mexico? What happened with that attempt?
It failed.
Yes, exactly. That attempts fail. Mexico can, oh, well, by that moment, Mexico could protect itself. So that was good, okay? And finally, when Emperor Iturbide had to abdicate to the throne, what do you think that happened next? What can you imagine that happened next?
There were no emperors and they became presidents.
Exactly, very good. Congratulations, Eric. Yes, of course. When they took off Emperor Iturbide, the Republic started, okay? And when the Republic started, who was, or what kind of power we had? Well, then that was the time when the presidents started. Who was our first president? Who was the first?
Guadalupe Victoria.
Guadalupe Victoria.
Excellent, congratulations. So, that's all. Very good for you guys, I'm proud of you. You can remember, you understand a little part of the history. And yes, of course, our first president was Guadalupe Victoria. Of course, what? Guadalupe. Okay. Okay, yes, of course. He was the first president of Mexico, and yes, of course, he participated in the movement of independence behind Vicente Guerrero, okay? So that was amazing. I don't know, but this part of the history of Mexico was a really controversial one. The one of the independence, everything that happened to date it, and well, that's a really amazing thing. I don't know. I like a lot the history of Mexico. I don't know you, but I do like it. Well, I'm going to pass assistance, okay? So tell me if you are here. Gerardo, are you here? Gerardo.
No hay ningún Gerardo.
Sorry.
Se equivocó de grupo.
Exactly. I didn't have the correct sheet. Okay, Isabel. Isabel.
Presente.
Hi. Isabel, by the way, I already changed your grades. Congratulations. You have 100.
Gracias.
Okay. Elias.
Buenas noches.
Hi, good night. Luis. Luis. Isn't here?
Presente.
Okay. Who's next? Let me see. Oh, wait. Okay, here. Eric.
Presente.
Fernando.
Presente, Miss.
Very good. American.
Presente.
Very good. Hannah.
Presente.
Axel.
Presente.
Amaury.
Presente.
Valeria.
Presente.
Fanny.
Ya no salimos.
No, wait for me. Fanny.
Presente.
Okay. Carol. Miriam.
Presente.
André. André didn't came? No. Fernanda.
Tampoco vino.
No?
No.
Daira.
Presente.
And Mariana.
Teacher, sorry, I'm here.
Ese sí, Mariana creo que sí no vino. Ese
Okay,
nunca
good.
viene.
No, she's never here. I'm really surprised for that. Okay, guys, any questions about your homeworks?
¿Qué le cuesta ponerle 10 a todos?
No, Miss.
A lot
Bueno, a
of work.
todos me refiero a 7 del grupo, nada más.
Yes, of course. Okay. Okay, if you all don't have any questions, I finished the class. Okay?
No, todavía no, porque toca matemáticas.
So sorry
Alargue
for
usted
you.
30 minutos.
Go for math. You can do it.
F.
It's not my favorite subject, but you have to do it.
Nadie.
So
Confirma,
any
Eric.
question, guys? Any question for the class, for the homeworks, or anything?
Denegado.
No.
Let me...
Todo bien, todo
Ah,
correcto.
Yo que me alegro.
excellent. That's good for you. Well, guys, thank you very
Muy
much.
buenas, criaturitas del Señor.
¿Qué tal estáis?
Okay. Bye, guys. Take
Ey,
care.
vámonos todos.
Bye-bye.
Ah, sí, ya se fue.
Bye.
Qué vergüenza. Estoy haciendo aquí la normal.
Hasta la próxima.
Take care.